Hello, how are you all? Hope everything's good for you. It's Bank Holiday Monday here in the UK and it's absolutely glorious weather. So that makes a change actually. It's kind of a standing joke here that every time there's a bank holiday and we all have a day off, it's bad weather, but not today. It's amazing. So yeah, right. So they said this week that they wanted to give us some clarity and clear up some confusion. So what they talked about was they had 3 questions. What is the difference between our guides and our higher selves? Secondly, what is the difference between our intuition and our thoughts and emotions? How do we tell the difference? And thirdly, what is the difference between our conscience and programming? And again, how can we tell the difference? So it's all quite useful, really, isn't it? Right, so first of all, when it came to guides, they said that we can always tell who our guides are because their voices are very different to our internal voice, if you like, and also their personality is usually quite different from our own personality. So it really is like another totally different person stepping in and talking. It can be heard as a voice, and it can also be accompanied by a vision as well sometimes. Sometimes we can see them. And that it's often spontaneous. So not always, because sometimes if we're deep in meditation and we've intentionally gone to meet our guides and we've got questions, then we set that question out beforehand and they may very well come through. But in the everyday sense, they usually come to us spontaneously. So who are they? Well, they could be a whole host. So we have a team of guides. Everybody has a team of guides. They can be ascended masters. They can be angelics. They can be multidimensional beings. And by that I mean literally those beings that live in another dimension at a much higher frequency, 5D and above, often above. And they can also be elemental, but if they always are guides that have a very specific role and of a specific purpose related to this earth plane. Yeah. And you can look up elementals and their various roles online if you want to, if you're interested. So, but the important thing to remember is that our guides are always loving, never judgmental. They always acknowledge our divine sovereignty and our own divinity and our own power over our lives to make our own choices. And they're always very supportive and encouraging about helping us to fulfill our soul's purpose and journey in this incarnation. So that's important to remember, that when they do come through to you, it should feel very, very loving and very, very supportive. Yeah. So your higher self. So this is something that we access. So rather than them coming to us, this is something we find within. And we access that by tuning in to our bodies and the present moment, tuning out thoughts and emotions, and then listening to what we find. And it's interesting because they said that also our higher selves will prompt us. So we sometimes find little synchronicities and signs that come our way from the external. It might be a book to read that comes our way, or an image, or a word, a song, conversations that we have, people, places, dreams. But they're always leading us on our soul's journey. So, as I said, we all have access to our higher selves. It's just that the noise and the intensity of what's going on around us and our responses and reactions to that, our thoughts, our feelings, that all gets in the way. So it does take a little bit of practice, and it does take, as I said, sitting with yourself. Breathing exercises are very good if you find it hard to get in touch with being in your body. And also meditation is very good, as we all know, for stilling the mind and taking us out of our emotional self. So, and that behind that, we will find that consciousness that is our higher self. So, intuition versus thoughts and emotions. This is probably one of the most difficult ones, isn't it? So it's always our initial response